Daniel's boots sank slightly into the soft, glowing soil of the alien planet. He looked around, awe and nervousness mixing in his chest. Towering structures of crystal and light stretched high into the sky, shimmering in colors he had never seen before. This was the world of Princess Lyra, the alien he had risked his life to save months ago. And now, for the first time, he would meet her mother, the Queen. Lyra's voice broke the silence before anyone could speak. "He saved me, Mom! He saved me!" she cried, running toward him. Tears glistened in her eyes, and her small hands grasped his arm tightly. Daniel felt his heart tighten at her joy and relief. She looked at him as if he were the only thing that had kept her alive, and in a way he had been. Daniel swallowed hard. He had faced dangers he had never imagined, alien warlords, traps, and strange creatures. But standing before the Queen of this planet made him feel small. The Queen's reputation was legendary. Her judgment was said to be absolute. One wrong word, one wrong move, and everything could change. The grand doors of the throne room opened with a soft hum. A figure floated into the chamber, radiating calm and power. The Queen herself. Her wings, translucent and glowing, spread slightly behind her, catching the light of the crystal walls. Her eyes, sharp and intelligent, studied Daniel carefully, as if measuring every thought, every intention. Lyra could not contain herself. She tugged on Daniel's arm, her voice breaking into a whisper that only he could hear. "Mom, he risked his life for me. He didn't have to, but he did. He believed in me when no one else would. Please see him as I see him." The Queen's gaze shifted to Lyra. Her expression softened for a moment, but her voice remained calm, careful, and almost distant. "You claim he saved you, child? Words are easy. Actions are not. If this human is as you say, I must see proof. I must know the truth of his heart." Daniel nodded, his throat tight. "Your Majesty, I promise I will answer every question. I will tell the story of everything that happened. I only hope you can understand why I did it, why I could not leave her behind." The Queen's wings flickered faintly, a sign of her attention. "Sit. Tell me your story, human. Every detail matters. I will hear it all before judgment is made." Daniel followed her instructions and bowed. He could feel the weight of the room pressing on him, but Lyra's presence was grounding. She squeezed his hand, silently reminding him that he had already done the impossible. He began slowly, describing the day Lyra had been captured by the rogue warlords of a neighboring system. He told the Queen how the warlords were ruthless, how they cared nothing for anyone, not even a princess. He spoke of the fear that had gripped him when he first realized the danger she was in, and the determination that had pushed him forward. Lyra listened, her eyes glistening as she heard Daniel recount the moments she barely remembered herself. "He never gave up," she whispered. "Even when everything seemed lost, he kept fighting for me." Daniel spoke of the chase through asteroid fields, the cunning traps, and the fierce battles he had faced. He didn't try to embellish his actions. He simply told the truth. Every fear, every risk, every heartbeat of terror and hope he had felt, he shared openly. The Queen's expression remained unreadable, though Daniel noticed her wings tense slightly whenever he spoke of Lyra's courage. She was weighing every word, every gesture. Then she spoke, her voice steady and strong. "You claim to have saved my daughter, human. Many would try and fail. Why did you continue when failure could have meant death?" Daniel looked at her, feeling a surge of honesty and fear. "Because she mattered. I couldn't leave her. I couldn't let her die when I had the chance to help. That's why I kept going, no matter what." Lyra pressed closer to him, whispering softly, "Mom, he didn't just save me. He risked everything because he believed in me. That's why I'm here, because of him." The Queen's gaze softened for the first time, though she remained quiet. Her eyes held a mix of curiosity and respect. Daniel had faced the impossible and survived. But whether that was enough to earn her trust, he would soon find out. Daniel took a deep breath as he began recounting the story in front of the Queen. The throne room was silent, except for the soft hum of energy from the glowing crystals. Lyra stood beside him, holding his arm tightly, her eyes shining with gratitude. "It all began the day they took her," Daniel said, his voice steady but quiet. "The warlords attacked her convoy without warning. I arrived just in time to see them take her away. I couldn't let that happen, not to her." The Queen remained still, her wings folding gently behind her. Her gaze did not waver from Daniel, sharp and intelligent, as if trying to see through his very soul. Daniel felt a shiver run down his spine, but he continued. "They were cruel," he said, recalling the moment he had first reached their fortress. "They didn't care who lived or died, but Lyra, she never gave up. Even locked in that cell, she fought, she resisted. She didn't lose hope. She reminded me why I couldn't fail." Lyra squeezed his arm. Her eyes glimmered as she remembered the terror she had felt. "Even when I thought I was completely lost, he didn't give up on me. He came for me when no one else could." Daniel nodded. "I had to track them through asteroid fields, dodge patrols, and survive traps I didn't even understand. I faced creatures that could have killed me instantly, and every time I remembered I was doing this for her. She believed in me. I couldn't let her down." The Queen finally spoke, her voice calm but filled with weight. "Your kind is said to be fragile yet stubbornly bold. Why did you risk yourself for her? Many humans would have fled or failed." Daniel's chest tightened. He looked at Lyra, her eyes wide with hope, and then back at the Queen. "Because she deserved it, because no one else could do what had to be done, and because she trusted me. When I looked at her, I knew that I had to fight, even if it meant I might not survive. That's what being human is. We fight for those who matter, no matter the odds." The Queen listened quietly, letting his words sink in. She had seen warriors before, creatures strong and skilled, yet there was something different about humans, something raw and unpolished, yet fierce. This human had risked everything for a being so different from himself, and that act alone was extraordinary. Daniel continued, describing the final moments of the rescue. "The warlords didn't expect me to reach her cell. I fought my way through them, and even when they outnumbered me, I kept going. Lyra fought too. Together we escaped. Every second was life or death, but we made it, and that's why she's alive today." Lyra's voice broke slightly. "Mom, he saved me, not just from them, but from despair, from hopelessness. He never stopped fighting, even when I thought all was lost. He believed in me when no one else did." The Queen's wings twitched softly. She remained silent, but Daniel noticed her gaze soften just a little. She had never seen someone like him before. Not someone so willing to risk life for another, not someone who carried courage and compassion in equal measure. "You speak of hope and sacrifice," the Queen said at last. "You have faced dangers beyond imagination, and yet you risked all for her. You have proven bravery, but words alone do not show the heart fully. Tell me, human, would you do it again?" Daniel met her eyes, steady and unwavering. "Without a second thought. For her or anyone I believe deserves it. I can't promise I'll always survive, but I can promise I'll never stop trying." Lyra's hand tightened on his arm. "Mom, I told you, he's human, but he's more than that. He's everything I needed when I had no one else." The Queen was silent for a long moment, her gaze traveling from Lyra to Daniel. There was respect there now, tempered by caution and maybe a hint of wonder. This human had done what few could, and she knew that perhaps, in his determination, she had glimpsed the true spirit of humanity. Finally, she spoke, softly but with weight. "Very well. Words are not enough, but you have shown courage, honesty, and loyalty. Let us see if your actions can match your heart, human. Prepare yourself. Your journey with us is only beginning." Daniel nodded, swallowing the nervousness that still lingered. He had survived the impossible to save Lyra, but now the real test had only just begun. The Queen led Daniel and Lyra to a large chamber deep inside the palace. The walls shimmered like liquid crystal, and the air was thick with a soft energy that made the hairs on Daniel's arms stand up. He had faced alien warlords, deadly creatures, and impossible landscapes, but this was different. This was not a test of strength alone. This was a test of heart. The Queen stopped at the center of the chamber. "Human," she said, her voice calm but firm, "you have shown bravery and loyalty in saving my daughter, but courage alone does not prove one's worth. Here you will face a challenge, not of force but of heart and decision. What you do here will show me whether you can be trusted, not just by me, but by all of my people." Daniel's stomach tightened. He had never been tested like this. He had risked his life for Lyra, yes, but now he had to show that his bravery could endure more than danger. It had to endure judgment, responsibility, and compassion. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will do my best." The Queen raised her hand, and the ground beneath Daniel's feet shifted. The floor became translucent, and holographic images formed around him. The room transformed into a simulation of her world. Volcanic pits of molten energy, rivers of glowing plasma, and crystal spires that spun and pierced the sky. Wind and heat seemed to whip around him. "This simulation will test your choices," the Queen said. "It is not enough to survive. You must protect, help, and decide what is right. Lives depend on your actions. Fail, and the consequences are real in the lessons you learn here." Daniel's eyes widened. The holographic winds lashed at him, and the terrain shifted beneath his feet. He could see illusions of innocent creatures trapped in dangerous spots, some crying for help. Some of the scenarios even placed Lyra in harm's way, testing whether he would risk himself for her. He took a deep breath, gripping Lyra's hand as she followed his movements. "I will do whatever I must," he whispered. "I can't let anyone get hurt if I can help it." The first challenge appeared, a bridge suspended over a river of molten plasma. An alien child appeared on the far side, calling for help. The bridge began to collapse as Daniel ran forward. His heart pounded, sweat dripping from his forehead, but he didn't hesitate. He leapt across gaps, caught the child mid-fall, and landed hard on the other side. The holographic terrain seemed to test him physically, emotionally, and mentally. Time blurred as one trial led to another. Daniel faced illusions of creatures in need, collapsing structures, and dangerous energy currents. He had to choose between protecting himself or helping others. Each time he chose to protect life, no matter the risk to his own safety. Lyra followed him as best she could, her eyes wide with worry. "Daniel, be careful," she called at one point, but he kept moving, trusting that he could save them both. Finally, after what felt like hours, the simulation dissolved. Daniel fell to his knees, exhausted, bruised, and gasping for air. His muscles ached, but he had pushed through every trial. Every choice he had made, every risk he had taken had been to protect life, no matter whose it was. The Queen approached silently, her wings folding gently behind her. She studied Daniel carefully, her gaze sharp but now tinged with something Daniel could not name, respect, perhaps, or wonder. "Human," she said softly, "you have passed the test, not because you were the strongest, but because you were selfless. Compassion and courage guided you, even when danger pressed at every step. You have shown me what it means to act with true heart." Lyra ran forward and embraced Daniel, her voice full of emotion. "See, Mom, I told you, he's not just brave, he's the best human I could ever know. He's extraordinary." The Queen knelt slightly, lowering herself to their level. "Yes," she said quietly. "He is extraordinary. In his actions, I see the truest qualities of humanity. Strength, courage, and a heart willing to sacrifice for others. You have not only saved my daughter, you have shown me what your species can be." Daniel's chest swelled with relief and pride. Months of fear, struggle, and danger had led him here. He had survived the impossible, faced challenges no human should ever face, and earned the respect of a queen from another world. Lyra held his hand tightly. "We did it together," she whispered. Daniel smiled, knowing that this was only the beginning. The journey ahead would be full of unknowns, but he had proven that humanity, no matter how fragile it seemed, could shine brighter than any star in the galaxy. Even after the simulation ended, Daniel felt the weight of the Queen's eyes on him. He had passed the test of courage and compassion, but he knew that the real challenge was not the physical dangers he faced. It was proving the depth of his heart. The Queen's presence was calm yet intense, as if she were measuring not just his actions, but his very soul. Lyra stood close, her hand gripping his, a quiet reminder of why he had fought. "Daniel," she whispered, "they can see your heart now. Don't let fear shake you. You're more than strong enough." Daniel nodded. The truth was, he still felt fear. Fear of failure, of disappointing not just Lyra, but this entire world that had witnessed his deeds. He had fought alien warlords, survived deadly creatures, and navigated impossible terrains. But now, he realized, courage meant more than fighting. It meant understanding, sacrifice, and empathy. The Queen raised her hand, and once again the chamber shifted. The glowing floor beneath them dissolved into a swirling, ethereal landscape. Holographic dangers appeared, not just of fire or falling crystal, but moral dilemmas. He saw simulations of villagers trapped in a collapsing city, a creature begging for help while chaos raged, and Lyra herself in danger. Each scenario forced a choice: Save yourself or save others. Daniel's heart raced. He knew instinctively what he must do. Time was critical in every scenario, yet he never hesitated. Whenever someone needed help, he moved without thought for his own safety. He pulled creatures from collapsing buildings, shielded Lyra from illusions of harm, and guided the innocent away from danger. His choices were guided by instinct, by empathy, by the belief that life, every life, mattered. At one point, the simulation created an impossible choice. Lyra was suspended over a pit of glowing energy, screaming for help, while an alien child was trapped on a crumbling ledge nearby. Daniel froze for a split second, his chest tight with panic. But then he remembered the feeling when he first saw Lyra captured months ago, the desperation, the helplessness. Without hesitation, he reached for Lyra first, catching her mid-fall, then turned back to save the child, throwing himself across the unstable ledge. Pain shot through his arms and legs, but he held on. Every life mattered. When the simulation finally ended, Daniel collapsed to his knees, breathing heavily, his body aching from exertion. He looked at Lyra, whose eyes were wide with awe and relief. You really did it," she said softly. "You didn't just survive, you cared. That's why you're extraordinary." The queen approached slowly, her wings folding gently behind her. "Human," she said, her voice quiet but full of weight. "You have faced trials that test not only strength but spirit. You have shown me that your courage is more than physical. It is moral, emotional, and unwavering. You protect, you choose wisely, and you act with compassion even under pressure. That is the mark of a hero, not just of a human, but of a being worthy of trust." Daniel's chest swelled. Months of fear, struggle, and sacrifice had led to this recognition. He had survived impossible challenges, not by strength alone, but by heart. And now, in the eyes of the Queen and Lyra, he felt the truth. Humanity, fragile as it might seem, could shine brighter than any alien weapon, any alien power, any impossible obstacle. Lyra pulled him close, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Mom, see him? He's not just brave. He's everything I needed when I thought I was lost. He's human, but he's extraordinary." The Queen nodded slowly, a faint smile crossing her face. "Yes, he is extraordinary. Perhaps humans are stronger, kinder, and more courageous than we ever imagined. You have not only saved my daughter, you have shown us the strength of your species, the heart of your kind." Daniel looked at Lyra, feeling her warmth and gratitude. He realized that bravery was not just fighting monsters. It was protecting, sacrificing, and choosing what was right, even when it hurt. And now, for the first time, he understood that his journey with Lyra and the Queen was far from over. But he was ready. In the quiet of the chamber, with glowing crystals surrounding them, Daniel felt a sense of purpose deeper than anything he had known. He had proven himself, not through force alone, but through heart. And that, he knew, was the beginning of something far greater than he could have imagined. Days passed since Daniel had completed the Queen's test, yet he felt no relief. The palace, though beautiful, was vast and unfamiliar. Every corridor shimmered with colors he couldn't name, every sound hummed with energy. But Lyra's presence made it feel like home. Her hand in his was a quiet reassurance that he had not only survived the Queen's trials, but had earned a place beside her. The Queen observed him silently from a distance. She watched as he moved through the palace with curiosity, helping wherever he could, learning the ways of her people. Daniel noticed her eyes on him sometimes, sharp and calculating, but now there was a hint of softness there, a spark of recognition. He realized she was not just watching him for faults, but for the heart behind his actions. Lyra pulled him into the garden one morning, the crystalline flowers glowing softly around them. "Daniel," she said, her voice light but serious, "I've never been more certain of anything. You're different from anyone I've ever known. You don't just fight, you care. You see others, not just yourself." Daniel smiled, feeling warmth spread through his chest. "I try," he said simply. "I didn't save you for praise or reward. I did it because it was the right thing to do." Lyra leaned closer, her eyes glistening. "And that's why I trust you more than anyone else in the galaxy. Mom will see it too, soon enough." Indeed, the Queen called them both to a council hall later that day. The room was filled with her advisors, beings of countless forms and colors, all watching Daniel carefully. The Queen's presence was commanding, yet she gestured for him to stand beside Lyra. "Daniel," she began, "you have proven yourself beyond expectation, not by skill alone, not by luck, but by heart. You have saved my daughter and shown the best of your species. You have forged a bond of trust, courage, and loyalty. That bond is rare and it is precious. Daniel felt a lump in his throat. Words had never been his strong suit, yet he nodded, feeling the weight and honor of her praise. He looked at Lyra, who was glowing with pride. "Your Majesty," he said quietly, "I only did what anyone would do for someone they care about. She's worth everything." The Queen's eyes softened further, almost imperceptibly. "Humans are often underestimated," she said. "They are thought fragile, weak, and short-lived. But you remind me that courage and loyalty are not measured by size or strength, but by heart. You have shown us that humanity has a place among the stars, not merely as observers, but as true partners capable of extraordinary deeds." Lyra took Daniel's hand in both of hers. "See, even she can't hide it anymore. You're not just a hero, Daniel, you're part of our family." Daniel's eyes widened, overwhelmed by emotion. He had never imagined that a human could be accepted so fully into an alien culture. Yet here, in the heart of a world that had once seemed impossible, he felt seen, not just as a savior, but as a person. Over the following days, he spent more time learning the ways of walking with Lyra through the palace gardens, helping in the city, and witnessing the people who had been saved by his actions indirectly. Every smile, every nod of recognition reminded him that courage could inspire far beyond the battlefield. The Queen occasionally spoke with him privately, sharing wisdom and philosophies of her people. Daniel listened carefully, learning not only the ways of another world, but also lessons about leadership, patience, and honor. In return, he shared stories of Earth, of humanity's struggles and triumphs, of the bonds that connected people despite fear and danger. By the time the sun dipped behind the crystal towers, Daniel realized something profound. He had not only earned the Queen's trust, he had forged a bond stronger than fear, stronger than distance or difference. He had bridged the gap between two worlds, not with weapons, but with heart. Lyra leaned her head against his shoulder as they watched the glowing city below. "You know," she whispered, "I think this is just the beginning. The Queen sees it now, and so do I. Together we can do anything." Daniel nodded silently, feeling a sense of belonging he had never known. He had come to this alien world as a stranger, a human far from home. But now he was more than that. He was a friend, a protector, a part of a family that spanned stars. And in that moment, Daniel understood the true meaning of courage. Not just surviving the impossible, but touching lives, earning trust, and building bonds that could withstand any challenge the galaxy might throw at him. The day of celebration arrived, and the palace was alive with light, color, and music. Beings of every shape and size filled the grand halls and gardens, curious to witness the human who had saved the alien princess. Crystals hummed softly in harmony with the crowd's excitement, casting shimmering reflections on every surface. Daniel stood beside Lyra, trying to steady his nerves, though his heart raced with a mixture of pride and disbelief. Lyra's eyes sparkled as she took his hand. "Daniel, you're going to love this. Everyone is here to honor you, not just me, but my people. You showed them what humans are capable of." Daniel shook his head, a humble smile on his face. "I didn't do it for this. I only did what had to be done." Lyra laughed softly. "Well, now they know and they want to celebrate you. You deserve it." The Queen approached, her wings glowing softly, her expression serene yet powerful. She held out her hand, and the crowd grew silent in respect. "Today," she announced, "we honor not only the bravery of a human who risked everything to save my daughter, but the courage, compassion, and heart that define all humanity. Daniel has shown us that the strength of spirit can surpass any weapon, any technology, any obstacle. He has reminded us that the heart of a hero is not measured by species, but by deeds and choices." Daniel felt heat rise to his cheeks. He had never been praised like this, not even on Earth. Yet standing here, witnessing the awe of an entire alien civilization, he felt something deeper than pride. It was belonging. He had touched lives beyond his own, bridged worlds, and earned a place in a story far greater than himself. Lyra pulled him toward the garden, where glowing lanterns floated in the sky like tiny stars. Children of the ran around, laughing, playing games inspired by the tales of Daniel's heroism. Daniel watched them, his heart swelling. Each smile reminded him that his actions had created ripples of hope and joy far beyond his imagination. The Queen continued, her voice carrying over the crowd. Humans are often underestimated. They are thought to be fragile, simple, and limited. But Daniel has proven that even the smallest of us, by size or power, can possess a heart capable of greatness. His actions remind us all that courage is not in avoiding danger, but in standing for what is right. Daniel looked at Lyra, who squeezed his hand and whispered, "Mom sees it now. She sees you as I always have. You're extraordinary." Tears pricked his eyes. "I'm just me," he whispered back. "I did what anyone would do for someone they care about." Lyra shook her head, smiling through her own tears. "No, Daniel, you did more than that. You showed us all what humanity really is. You saved me, and in doing so, you inspired all of us." The Queen stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on Daniel's shoulder. "Today, we celebrate not just a human hero, but a symbol of hope. Your bravery, selflessness, and unwavering heart have touched every soul here. Know that your deeds will be remembered for generations, not just on Earth, but across the stars." As the sun set behind the crystal towers, the celebration continued with music, dance, and laughter. Daniel moved through the crowd, greeted with nods, smiles, and even gestures of gratitude he could barely understand. Everywhere he looked, he saw hope, joy, and admiration. Lyra rested her head against his shoulder, gazing at the glowing horizon. "We did it, Daniel. Together, we did it. You didn't just save me. You saved a part of everyone here. You made a difference." Daniel hugged her tightly, feeling the weight of the moment. For the first time, he realized that bravery was not just about surviving danger or defeating enemies. It was about touching lives, inspiring others, and showing that even one person, even one human, could change the course of the universe. The Queen watched silently, her eyes softening. She had expected strength and skill from a human, perhaps even courage. But what Daniel had shown her went beyond all expectation. Humanity itself, pure and undeniable, shining brighter than any weapon, any technology, any alien force. As night fell, lanterns floated into the sky, casting a soft, golden glow over the palace. Daniel and Lyra stood side by side, hand in hand, knowing that their bond, forged through trials, fear, and love, was now stronger than ever. In that moment, Daniel understood the truth of the Queen's words. Courage was not just in survival, it was in heart, in action, in hope. And that human heart could shine across the galaxy. The palace was quiet now, the celebration long over, but the energy of the day lingered in Daniel's chest. He stood on the balcony beside Lyra, looking out over the glowing city of crystal towers and soft light. For months, he had faced impossible dangers, risked his life for a princess, and passed tests that had measured not just his strength but the core of his heart. And now, as the stars shimmered above, he finally felt something he had never felt before: belonging. Lyra leaned close, her head resting on his shoulder. "Daniel," she whispered, her voice soft but certain, "do you realize what you've done? You didn't just save me, you changed how my people see humans. You showed my mother, everyone, that our worlds can be friends, that hope and courage are universal." Daniel smiled, though his heart felt full to the brim. "I just did what I had to do," he said quietly. "I didn't think about it as saving anyone, I just acted." Lyra shook her head gently. "No, you saved more than me. You saved hearts. You showed strength that no weapon could match. You reminded everyone here that humans are not weak, that even the smallest, strangest human can make a difference in the galaxy." Daniel let out a slow breath. He had always known humanity was capable of incredible things, but to hear it spoken aloud by an alien queen and her daughter in a world far from Earth was overwhelming. He realized that heroism wasn't just about battles or victory. It was about compassion, courage, and selflessness. A soft sound drew their attention. The Queen emerged, her wings glowing faintly in the night. She walked toward them, her presence calm but filled with authority. "Daniel," she said, her voice carrying a quiet power, "you have proven yourself in ways I did not expect. You have faced dangers that would break the strongest, yet you endured, not for glory, not for recognition, but for what was right. You have saved my daughter, yes, but more importantly, you have reminded us all what humanity can be." Daniel turned to her, humbled by her words. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I never expected, I never imagined this. I just tried to do what I thought was right." The queen's gaze softened, and for the first time she smiled openly. "That is enough. You have shown that courage and heart are not bound by species. You are human, yes, but in your actions you have shown greatness that transcends any boundary. You are part of our story now. You are part of our world." Lyra squeezed Daniel's hand, tears glistening in her eyes. "See, you're not just my hero, you're a hero to all of us. You've changed everything, and now we face the galaxy together." Daniel swallowed, feeling the enormity of what she said. "Together," he echoed, letting the words sink in. The galaxy had always seemed vast, frightening, and unknown. But with Lyra at his side and the trust of a queen who had once doubted him, the unknown no longer felt impossible. He looked back at the city below, at the people he had touched, the lives he had saved, and the bonds he had forged. Humanity, he realized, was not defined by strength or technology alone. It was defined by the choices each person made, the courage they carried, and the love they shared. Lyra rested her head against him again, whispering, "We can do anything now, Daniel. You've shown them us what humans are capable of, and I know there's so much more ahead." Daniel smiled, feeling a sense of peace he had never known. "Then let's face it," he said softly, "together." The queen watched silently from the balcony, her eyes glinting with pride and wonder. "Indeed," she whispered to herself, "he saved more than my daughter. He saved our hearts. He reminded us of the light that courage and compassion can bring, even from the smallest, most unexpected of heroes." Above them, the stars glittered like diamonds, and Daniel understood fully. His journey was far from over, but the galaxy was no longer a place of fear. It was a place of hope, courage, and humanity's undeniable strength. And wherever they went next, he knew one truth would remain. Humans could rise, shine, and inspire even among the stars. As Daniel and Lyra stood hand in hand, the city glowing beneath them, the queen's voice echoed softly in their hearts. "Humanity, indeed, you are extraordinary.